I've got Harleigh here, who is working at the Princeton Centennial Pool for the summer and has spent the last 10 years in Fort McMurray. And you actually were part of the, shall we say, escape from Fort McMurray because you were experienced the massive fire there. Can you give us maybe a bit of an indication of, I know it was panic and there was a lot of rush to get things done, but can you give us just a bit of a snapshot of what you had to do when you heard about it?
Well, basically I had to go get my brother from school. He was in elementary school up in one of the neighborhoods that got hit, Beacon Hill. I got a call from my mom about 1 o'clock. I left the house. I went and got him, and as I was crossing the bridge, I actually seen the fire up on the ridge, and I went and got Lincoln about quarter after. I came back to the house, and I got a call probably 1:45, and my mom was like, get out, because the golf course was on fire. And then I just remember like kind of having to grab the suitcases from downstairs, like get everything ready to go, and it was just me and my brother at home, so not only did I have to pack for him, but I had to pack for my parents as well. And that was extremely stressful.
Well, what would you pack? I mean, like in such a circumstance and such a rush, I mean, what would you grab?
I basically grabbed everybody's underwear drawers and their pillow.
Yep.
That was my biggest thing. And then I grabbed winter coats, just in a full one of those rush moment things. Like it was 32 degrees and I grabbed winter coats. But yeah, and I just remember thinking, I was like, what's important? What do I need? And then just like coming up on a blank. Like it's not anything you can plan for, and it's not anything really you know what to grab, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless you had a jump bag ready to go, you don't know what to grab.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Like I had 2 sweaters and a pair of shorts. That's what I had. My dad had 1 t-shirt and a pair of shorts, just because like, I just grabbed whatever was on the couch.
So what was the mood around the city? I mean, you would have seen other people running and trying to get away as well.
Yeah, well, when I first left the driveway, everything went about, like, it was like almost like it was 9 o'clock. Like, it went super, super dark.
Right.
And then I looked back, and the cloud was just massive. And it had blocked out the sun, which was extremely scary. And then
so it gave it kind of a horror movie kind of look?
Absolutely it did. Basically, it was like apocalyptic almost.
Oh,
like,
my.
It was insane. And then I remember driving down the hill, and then I knew I had 2 possible exits. Like I knew enough of the roads to get down because I knew I had to beat the traffic because I know traffic does get really bad.
Right.
So I knew all the back roads to get down to the one exit to this one neighborhood that I live in. And yeah, I just remember like pulling up down at the bottom and like waiting in line to kind of get onto the bridge and to go down into almost like the valley ridge thing we have coming out of the one neighborhood.
Right.
And people were just getting off the buses from site, hopping into random cars with their backpacks and their lunch bags, people walking down the street because they weren't going to drive. And I just remember everybody just kind of freaking out, and like exactly what you would imagine in a movie is exactly what happened. Like everybody's in a chaotic mess. People are trying to get somewhere, and as I was driving down the hill, I actually had to swerve between 2 people coming up on the wrong side.
Was there much in the way of communication? Like, I mean, was there, you know, the community letting people know that it's time to leave? And
yes, I tuned into the local radio station. I'm pretty sure like everybody else did.
Yeah.
And I'd say every 5 minutes there was it was a kind of like a high-pitched noise, like almost like an Amber Alert was being announced, and every time they had announced an evacuation order, it just added another neighborhood and added, like every 5 minutes, every section of house was being evacuated, and I just remember listening to it and like freaking out.
Yeah, because it was rolling forward, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it just continued to go.
By the time I left my house, half of Wood Buffalo was on fire. Like the houses were on fire, and that was probably not even 45 minutes after I got the call to get my brother.
So did you have any time to actually think about the damage that was going on, or did you, I mean, I'm trying to put myself in your place, and I'm thinking, you're not going to drive around and take a look at the damage. You want to get out.
Exactly. My family planned to go north. We were going up to one of the sites up there and one of the camps up there. That was my family's plan. That was my instructions.
Right.
And so I started heading north, but it didn't kind of occur to me till I was about halfway down the highway up to the plants. And it was only my second time ever driving that highway out there, right? Like it was just one of those things you never really do.
Right.
And I just remember like it kind of settled in that it was real, right? Like this is actually happening, that like my home is on fire. And then it wasn't, I got a couple calls from my friends saying like my house is on fire.
Oh yeah.
Right? And
yeah,
like,
for
they
sure.
had to leave. And I had a friend sitting on Abasan Hill. She actually got stuck in the traffic and she watched it burn around her, right? Like I was lucky and fortunate enough that my mom was in that neighborhood knowing what was going on, and she told me to get out and get out now, so I had to.
And your home is still standing?
Yes,
okay.
My home is still there.
All right, but as far as you know, pretty much everything else in your neighborhood, has it?
My neighborhood is pretty good, actually.
Okay.
I'm kind of very central.
Okay.
where I live. The only time it kind of got scary about like my fear of losing my house, like I mean it's just stuff,
Yeah.
right? But I mean your memories are there, right? Like
For sure.
you live there, like that's where you're at. The third day that the fire happening, so I think it happened on the 3rd, so it would have been the 6th. I remember what had happened with the fire is it had almost seed around both Thickwood and Timberley, and the winds had changed and they were predicting that it was going to close on each other and it was just going to take out everything.
Wow.
And at that point I just stopped watching the news. I
Yeah.
stopped caring, and at that point I started to cry. Like that's when I kind of lost my mind a little bit.
It sunk in at that point.
Yeah, at that point
Yeah.
it was like, okay, like this happened, like I can't go back.
Okay, so to wrap this up, because I mean that's quite a scary experience, but to wrap it up, if you had advice for anyone dealing with this kind of emergency, what would you suggest people do?
Have a plan. Like I was fortunate enough that my mom knew that going north would be our best option.
Okay.
And basically don't overthink anything. Just basically get what you would think you would need, right? Even if it's very minimal. Like I mean we had a lot of help afterwards, right? But get what you need and get out. Like don't wait.
So grab and go.
Grab and go.
Right on.
Like everything at that point is just stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like you can replace what's in your home, you can't replace the bodies that live in it.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Harleigh. Appreciate your insight, and I'm glad that you have been able to walk away from this with your head held high and some confidence, and that you can share some of your experience with others.
Thank you.
Thank you again.